Noth Klibberhai, friends. Darth Momo here, and it has been a while. I know it's been, 2020 in December, so it has been 2.5 years since I have last reviewed a Disney Star Wars project, or a Star Wars project in general. I know I dabbled a little bit with talking about the vintage collection last year, and dabbled a little bit talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi in regards to the reception to the project, but I haven't actually sat down and reviewed a project. I want to get back into it because I want to review Ahsoka. I've got thoughts on that. I've got thoughts on all of it, you know? So I am going to do a little bit of a catch-up. So I will review each of the Disney projects that have come out since Mandalorian Season 2, and I am going to talk about them by season. So I will talk about each of the Bad Batch seasons. I'll talk about Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Andor. What else have we had? Mandalorian Season 3. I'll discuss Visions. I am going to watch Young Jedi Adventures, but I haven't gotten there yet. So we will get to that eventually in a little bit. In the meantime, though, let's get into it. So today we're going to talk about the Bad Batch, the first season. I'll talk about the second in a moment. I'm going to kind of do these chronologically. So Star Wars, the Bad Batch, Season 1, 2021. This is what I have to say about it. So we'll just kind of discuss some various thoughts about it. I think as far as the openings goes, it has, and I would still argue to this day, the strongest opener of a Star Wars series. Part of that is because we are building on established lore already, right? It doesn't have to come out and introduce new characters like Star Wars Rebels did, or The Mandalorian. It's not slow like the first episode of Andor, or the Book of Boba Fett. It is very much, we're taking these characters you know from Clone Wars that you already like, and we're building off that. We're throwing them right into a time period that you like, and we're going to introduce elements that you like. You know, we have Tarkin, we have Kanan's cameo, we have Palpatine's brief cameo. There's a lot of aspects that we already know about this show, so it uses that to its advantage. So I definitely think it's already propped up on a leg to begin with, but by far does it have the best opener out of every show so far. And unfortunately, I don't think the rest of the season lives up to the opening. I think after the first opening episode, it kind of dips down a little bit. And the second episode was all right. It was cool to see Cut LaQuaine again. But it definitely wasn't as good as the first one. And the next few were more or less forgettable. Then once Rex pops back in, it got a little bit better. The Rex episode was great. The episode following that with Crosshair was great. And then the episode that had Cad Bane with Omega captured already, it was okay. It wasn't forgettable like I'd say a lot of the other episodes were about this show, but it was good. Not as good as the first two of that arc, I guess, if you want to call it. And then I think it kind of continued that downward trend. And then the Ryloth episodes were really good. Of course, you know, it was a plus having Hera and Chopper and the Syndulas in it. But it was those were really strong episodes. And then I remember watching the next one after that, which was, I would call straight up filler. It was the one with the Horned Deveronian guy that took over Sid's palace. That was awful because the way that the Ryloth episodes ended, it was, you know, we're heading into the final episodes. We're setting Crosshair up to personally hunt down the Bad Batch. It felt like we were heading into the final run of the show, and then, nope, sorry, we're going to do another filler episode first. And then, as far as the last 3-part arc went, it was good. I liked the first 2 episodes. I thought the third one was kind of weak, and it would have done it better if it was basically a 2-part episode with the 15th episode. Definitely threw me for a loop because I figured, okay, we're going to follow the same model. You know, Kanan got captured in the third to last episode, and then the second to last episode is about them trying to figure out the plan to get him back, and then the last episode they get him back. Same thing with Grogu in The Mandalorian Season 2. It definitely threw me for a loop doing it differently. And I want to say that I think a strong suite of this season was the characters Hunter and Crosshair. Definitely the standouts of the show. Everyone else was more or less forgettable. They didn't really do anything interesting with Wrecker except for the brief Order 66 sequence, but that could have been done a lot better and a lot more interesting than I thought it ended up coming out. Tech was forgettable. Echo was forgettable in this season, but Hunter was definitely the standout, strong protagonist character. Really liked him. In the Clone Wars, they were just more or less, okay, yep, this is just the Superman clones, and that's about it to their character. But Hunter was definitely really developed as a character, and Crosshair especially. It was more or less predictable based off of promotional material and the trailers that this was going to happen. Crosshair was going to go bad, and I thought that was a strength of the first episode because it basically did all the setup I was expecting in that first episode. Crosshair was great, and I'm interested to see where they take him. Obviously, we'll talk a bit more about that in the Season 2 video. But as far as Crosshair and Hunter went, I think they were the standout characters and the only standout characters. There was a lot of forgettable cameos. Obviously, Rex was cool to pop up and Cad Bane, but like Fennec Shan, okay. They didn't do too much interesting with Tarkin. There wasn't a lot of interesting side characters. Omega was meh. And then what else? It was Sid. Yeah, I don't really care for Sid. And we'll talk about that a bit more in the next video. But yeah, I think overall Bad Batch, it was very much a mixed bag. I think I'd give it 7 out of 10 though. At least with Season 1, it felt like there was a clear direction of where they were going. More or less there was advancement to the plot. I would compare it to kind of the middle seasons of Rebels, where they have a couple slower episodes, maybe 1 or 2 filler. Although I think Rebels is all but 1 episode non-filler. But anyway, and then a few strong arcs. So I would give overall Bad Batch, Season 1, I think I would give it a 7 out of 10. There was definitely some disappointing episodes, but I wouldn't have written it off based off the first season. I was still interested to see where it went going forward. With that, we're going to call this one a do, and the next one we will be talking about is the Book of Boba Fett. So join in, guys. I'm just going to rapid fire these so we can get through them. So thank you for joining in. May the Force be with you. We'll see you next video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, comment down below and hit that like button. Oh, and check out some of my other videos. I'm sure you'll find them delight.